episode of Uncanceled Culture. We posed a question on Facebook. Restaurants that people seem to like, but you don't actually like. That's not the exact question, but you get the idea. We go over those comments, and then in our second segment, we have a serious question. Something came up with me the other day, and I just had a question, and we got a lot of feedback on that. Can't wait for that. All that and more coming up on this episode of Uncanceled Culture. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, guys.
What is up? I'm Porky.
And I am the Louie.
The Louie is back and back with a vengeance, let me say, ladies and gentlemen. How was your week, man?
It wasn't bad. It was busy. I mean, work was busy. You know, No Pants July finished.
Oh, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, No Pants July finished, man. So we did have the kids running around. It had some stuff to do with them. We had a quince that one of them was standing in. We had to go to.
Oh, that's got to be.
Yeah.
You had to go through all that.
Yeah, it was a lot, man. But it was good. I did try the. I was gonna stop drinking in August.
And why?
Just I wanted to. Maybe
you wanted to save your liver a little bit?
Well, no, I think it was like maybe trying to lose some weight.
Okay.
Maybe not spending so much money. There was multiple factors.
Right.
And it lasted 3 days, so I did a good 3 days, man.
Hey, hooray for small victories, right?
Yeah, so I
we'll take it.
I had to drink to stop drinking.
Yeah.
So
I drank.
Cheers.
I drank to my soberness.
Yeah,
3 days.
It was good, man. It was a video I saw. It was funny. The guy's like. He's like, yeah, Jimmy John, you really need to stop drinking. And then he gets his beverage, and he was a good thing my name's not Jimmy John.
I ain't got to listen to you.
Yeah, so I felt the same way, man.
Yeah. Well, that's good, man.
Yeah, how was your week?
Normal stuff. Kids, getting ready for school. Had to go out, finish all that stuff. Luckily, we finished it up. But, yeah, man, very bland. That's my nickname, bland.
And thinking about that, we're gonna have people are gonna start having the meet the teachers coming up.
Yes.
You got to get all the supplies, do all that whole thing. And speaking of, I'm gonna throw a little shout out here to Barbara Gabe.
Yeah.
So people don't know, or if you don't know, or if you didn't see our post on social media, so
right.
We got a buddy. His name is Gabe. What he's been doing is he's been going out to the every year. This is his 10th annual. He does a back to school event.
Nice.
And it started off with just him, and he's a barber, so he started doing free haircuts for the kids in the community.
Oh, really?
Where he used to live at.
Oh, shit.
And he started off, and he would do as many as he could in a few hours, right? Then he started getting people to donate. People were taking food. They started making it into this big old thing.
Right.
I mean, now they got a DJ. They got 4 barbers, 4 stylists.
Wow.
They even have somebody doing nails. And this year they have over 500 backpacks donated.
Damn.
Supplies, everything in them. So they're just gonna be giving them out free to the kids in the community or the kids that show up. So
Right.
if you saw the post or if you haven't, go to our social media. But it's at Frank Garrett Center over there on the west side, off of 10 South Zamora and 18th Street.
Yeah,
over there. So they have a big thing, man, and so shout out to the people that donated and helped out.
Nice.
That are helping him. Again, it just started with him wanting to give back, man, and now he has this huge support. So we want to support him as well and just throw it out there. Congratulations and great job, Gabe, and keep it going, man. 10th
Nice.
annual, and we know it's going to keep going from there. It's going to get bigger and bigger.
That's good, man. Start to give back to your community, man.
Exactly.
To just start off as something small, and then all of a sudden it's something big,
Yeah, and it's crazy. He does this like a little promotion where he's like, hey, if you bring a backpack with supplies, I give you half off your haircut. And I mean, and knowing how much haircuts are nowadays, right?
Yeah,
30, 40, $50, right?
We've had that conversation.
Yeah, so but if you bring 2 backpacks, he gives you a free haircut.
Right.
And so it's just an incentive. You know what I mean?
I wish we would have known about that earlier, man.
Yeah, well,
we could have promoted that a little bit more.
The good thing is you still have this week because it's going to be going on the 12th on next Saturday.
It's next. Oh,
yeah, it's next week.
Man, see, this is why.
Yeah.
I think I'm still having effects from the drugs that I took because I thought it was this week.
No, I
thought it was today that we're recording.
Yeah,
but it's not. So next week. So okay. So
Yeah.
all this week.
Then
yeah, we'll sending that out, posting it, making sure. Maybe we should talk to him, man. Maybe.
Yeah.
We should talk to him
I was gonna see if we can bring him on. So we'll see if we can bring him on. It'll probably be the day after the event, but just to kind of see how it went.
Maybe just talk to him real quick and see. Yeah, that's good.
So,
man, my shit. I guess I don't. I guess I'm on wasted or something. I thought it was this week, to be honest with you.
Well, no. So it's gonna be at the Frank Garrett Community Center at 1226 West 18th Street.
Nice. Okay.
So.
Oh yeah. We'll definitely be posting about that. Get it out there.
Yeah, we might get some pictures, put it out there on our social media, so it'll be good.
Well, so we have I guess we have more along the lines of more. I guess we like to eat.
We do like to eat.
So I posed a question on Facebook earlier this week about
the question was
right the statement
or the statement.
Question.
Yeah.
Yes.
A restaurant that everyone seems to love, but you think is actually not that good.
Right. So I actually started. I said, you know what? I'll start. And I put, and you can hate me if you want, I put Don Pedro's. A lot of people like Don Pedro's, man. But I swear, and it had a lot of it has to do with like the experiences, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, or maybe it's expensive, and we have. The other answers that we have pertaining to that are about, how much it costs. But to me, I did have a bad experience there. We had some food that basically tasted like mop water.
Oh, yeah.
And it was it was real sour.
I hate when the cups are like that.
Exactly. And the tables, you sit at the table and you
it's
get
like
that
they use
smell.
the same rag or the same, to clean everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hate that.
So my thing was Don Pedro's, man, and I'm like, sorry, that's where I draw the line.
That used to be my go-to because what time do they close?
I thought they were they used to
be open 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that used to be my go-to spot after the bars.
Oh, everywhere,
right? So I'd go over there and
even
go get
after the prom. And shit,
go get the small plate or the Mexican plate, and you know what I mean. You eat it, and honestly, you're a little inebriated, so you're not really getting the whole feel of the
really
taste. You're just taking it in, man.
You're just chewing.
It was either that or Rockies.
Yeah,
right.
Rockies.
And Rockies is still a big staple, man.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, there were people like, "Hey, they're at Rockies," and I'm like, "Good." Let them go. It's 3:30 in the morning. We going home, man.
Man.
So Don Pedro's.
Yeah, Don Pedro's. And then I had a buddy of mine actually commented as well. He said Chris Madrid's.
Oh.
I'll be honest. I haven't been there, and I replied back to him. I hadn't been there, in probably more than 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure if it's different or how it is now. But
I haven't been there in a while either. However, I'll say this: I thought the burgers were good, right?
Oh, yeah, they were.
I mean, they're like they were greasy. They were good size. Yeah. It was good. However, I do think it's overrated. Okay, I do think it's overrated. I think they try to do too much with some of the burgers. They have all the their bean burgers and they have their all these.
Yeah,
and a lot of people do that because that's what they serve is burgers, right? But just a regular plain burger, bro, I think it was good.
Right.
I think it was really, really good. But I've heard the same thing. I've heard people say they don't like it.
Some people say they don't like it. I mean, I thought it was okay. I remember, I guess back then they used to be more liberal with the cheese.
Yeah.
And cheese would literally cover the whole plate,
You're right.
And I remember I used to literally cut the cheese. Hey, that's a secret word. Oh, rest in peace, Pee Wee. Rest in peace, Pee Wee. That's a secret word. Yay! So I would cut. Yeah. So there was so much cheese that was coming out of the burger. I used to get a knife and I would literally cut it all off, and then I would just fucking eat it just the whole greasy and everything, man. But yeah, I haven't been there in a while, so I really can't say how it's been or not. So
Well, and I know that we're talking about restaurants that people don't think are good, but I'm just thinking about burgers when we talk about Christmas Drids, and I'm like, dude, honestly, like one of her favorite spots is TJ's now.
Okay.
And that's always been, a staple of our South Side. Yeah,
South
exactly.
Side, brother.
It's been there years. You won the blue plate. It's been on, in the news. It's been in the paper.
Right.
And that one's actually really good. Now, however, I feel the same way. Everything's gotten pricey, right? So, they don't have combos. You have to buy everything a la carte, right? So I'm like, golly, it's just crazy. But yeah, so let's get back to the ones that people say they don't like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, TJ's is a good one. I mean, because I don't think I've ever heard anybody say they don't like TJ's.
They don't like it, right?
But still. But if there's one person that's going to say some shit like that, it's going to be this guy. You know him. I know him.
We all know him.
We all know him. So Mr. Trevino, Mr. Roger, made a comment, and he said, and I want to know what you think about this. He said, B&B barbecue. To which I told him, I was literally, those are fighting words, dude. Those are fighting words. I said, look, it's not like, and I know you and Cranky has gone to like places like Black's what are some of the other ones?
Black's and Salt Lake
and all those.
Yeah.
So I know y'all been there. So there's really, I mean, let's
it's
be
not
honest.
a comparison.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
It's like fast food to
right.
Okay, to a sit down restaurant. Yeah,
I see that. But as for me, B&B is actually not too bad, and I'm a pig, so I get the brisket burger, and man, they load that thing up with brisket.
When was the last time you went there?
It's been a couple of months.
Okay, let's see, a couple of months. I haven't been there in years, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been there in years. However, I did like it.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the tea was really good. And I used to just get the sandwich, I don't know if it was the pulled pork or
pulled pork. Yeah.
And man, and I don't like pulled pork. Like I'm not a big pulled pork fan because people just make them different. And I don't know. I'm just not a big pork person, right?
Right.
But I used to go over there and that's what I would have. And it was always, it wasn't the most horrible. It was, and we knew what we were there for. We were getting, and we know where we're at. Like you said, it's not a Black's. It's not a big name barbecue place.
And I've not even been there.
Two Brothers. Like there's all these other ones that are known. Exactly. It's not that, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I've never been to those places, but I know people go because they like them. But I'm like, okay, what would you rather have, Bill Miller's?
Yeah.
Or B&B? I'm like, I think I know where I'm going.
I mean, and I like Bill Miller's. It's not. Again, you know what you're getting. It's a fast food barbecue joint, right?
If you're going there, you already know.
You already know.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you, I've had people that came in from out of town, and they'll tell me, like, man, everybody talks highly of this Bill Miller's, and they get there, they're like, it's trash. And I'm like, well, you went in with an expectation of going to a big barbecue joint, and it's not. I mean, I don't know. How do you compare that to Rudy's?
Oh, yeah, that's another one.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people have come in, too, and they say, man, I don't like that place. And I'm like, again, you're coming in with an expectation, but you know why? Because people talk about Texas and barbecue.
Right.
And so they have this...
Every place is going to
be they think everything's like a Black's or and we keep mentioning that just because, man, they got some good food. So.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I haven't been there. I know you guys have been there, so I know y'all make the ultimate comparison. But... So apparently Roger, but he did say that he would give it another chance the next time he came in. So maybe we'll go with you, Raj.
There you go.
And you know what? You can pay.
And you can buy. Yes.
So
support your local podcast.
So and actually, our other guest, our other host, I guess you want to say, Sabrina made a comment. She put Chipotle.
Yes, I'll tell you right now, man. Every time we talk about going somewhere, and that name cannot even be brought up. She's like, "What? Oh, it's trash." And I'm like, you know what? I didn't think it was the greatest.
Yeah.
But I mean, to try something different because we eat the same thing over and over. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and no, man. Like, don't even bring up that name. Like, it's just trash to her. And I'm like, cool.
Well, she said Chipotle, and then I said, well, for the price, Freebirds is better.
See, and when you mentioned that, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, well, Freebirds is basically the same thing, and
Well, no, well, wait a minute here.
You know what? It's probably because I don't like either one and I don't go to either one.
Yeah,
so I'm just kind of throwing them all in the same bucket.
Yeah, you're throwing a blanket.
Yeah,
you're throwing a blanket out there. Yeah. But I actually like Freebirds. I mean, I like. I'll be honest. I like.
And
Chipotle
what do they have
too.
again?
What's this? It's okay.
A burrito?
I would call it. You know, it's kind of weird, but I would call it a Mexican burrito place.
Okay.
To an extent. Because when you go to Chipotle, like you're,
well, shouldn't
you're
it be
getting
called
all this.
You know, shouldn't it be called pájaro de? We'll get to that one in the second segment.
Pájaros quemados or pájaros libros.
Whatever, man. Like, if you're gonna sell Mexican food, man, have a Mexican name, bro.
Yeah, Freebirds. Hey, man, and you know what? I'll be honest. The first time I had it was in Austin, because we were trying to be cool, and hip. We went up to Austin and we were like, "Hey, let's go to Freebirds." I've never had it. Okay, let's go try it. So, dude, you've seen how big those burritos? They're monster.
Yeah, I got jealous.
Mandingo.
Yeah, I got jealous.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
but you don't have to. I mean, obviously, you don't have to get that burrito, but you can get a regular burrito, and I thought it was okay. I mean, it's got.
The only time I've only been there once, I think, and it was a vendor of mine that was like, "Hey man, come, quick meeting and let me treat you to something," and then ordered food, and I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm not gonna say no, it's free, right? But I was like, it's not like a place that I'm gonna want to frequent. I'm not gonna be coming back all the time. So,
wow. So okay, so I just noticed there's a couple of other ones. Priscilla mentioned, and then I had to agree with these.
Okay, and I'll tell you, I had some people I think mention the same one. So go ahead.
Okay, so I had to agree with these. Pico de Gallo.
Uh-huh.
La Margarita.
Uh-huh.
And Mi Tierras.
So I did have one, Dro, who had a comment last week, right? So Dro got back on and he said the same thing. He goes, Mi Tierra. He goes, that motherfucker is trash. So here's what I'll say about those three. Here's what I'll say about those three. They're touristy spots.
Yes.
It's not that you're not gonna go get authentic Mexican food. You got to go to a hole in the wall over here. You got to go to Jalisco. You got to go to there's places that we like, little hole in the walls.
Exactly.
That's where you're gonna get your Mexican food.
Right.
These places are just touristy spots. They're downtown by the Riverwalk or by the marketplace.
What exactly on the menu do they have that's hot? Because you can't serve that to a tourist because they'll be like, "Oh my God, what the fuck?"
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, I've always said, like when people come to San Antonio, like, "Oh, we'll go to Mi Tierra, let's go to Pico." No, go find where 90 is.
Yeah.
Go to any restaurant south of that,
yes.
And you'll get authentic Mexican food.
Mexican
I mean, let's be real, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I mean. It's tolerable. You can eat. They got good margaritas.
Yeah, of course. That's about it.
But it's a touristy spot, guys. So if you're not from San Antonio and you're gonna be coming in, no, it's a touristy spot. You're gonna hear people mention it. It's not the greatest. If you want to hit me and Porky up, we'll give you some spots, man.
I could point you to 4 or 5 different spots
right down the road.
Right, from within 10 minutes from here.
Yeah,
that are way better than all that crap.
Exactly.
Dude. Even friggin' Toritos over here on what is it on Presa?
Oh yeah,
way better than all that shit. And that place is sketchy.
Yeah. Oh, when you talk about sus,
sus, really sus, dude. And actually, Dro and Low. Did you see that?
Yep.
So they said Salt Lick.
Okay, so I did see that, right? And they fam, so I gotta hold back a little bit. However, so here's the thing about Salt Lick, and I think Salt Lick is more of a touristy spot now too. Okay. So when you're passing through, when you're going to Driftwood or you're going to Round Rock, those are the 2 spots, right?
Right.
The one thing I do like about Salt Lick, the food's not bad. It's actually pretty good. But it's not, again, like, they make it on a pit, and I've seen the pit, and the pit's freaking huge,
is that
right?
One of those that's visible, like you can see.
What I like about it, I'll tell you 2 things. I like that you pay your $30 or whatever it is per person, and it's all you can eat, brisket, ribs, and sausage.
Okay, so that's how it is?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
No, I mean, they have individual plates you can get, sandwiches and stuff, but you pay $30, they come and they bring you brisket, sausage, and pork ribs, and you eat that, And then when you're done, you ask them for another round, and they keep bringing it. And they bring you sides as well. You know, they have sides, coleslaw, and different things that they bring. And you keep eating, and then when you're done, you ask for one more round, and you can take that to go.
Oh, okay.
Now, the one thing that she likes from there, Sabrina, right? She likes the dino ribs because they have a huge beef rib. It's I get jealous again, right? It's massive.
It's Flintstone shit.
Yeah, and so she likes that, but she also likes blacks. Like, and I think blacks, it's less pricier. It could be. It's almost the same now, but and they have a good dino rib as well, and that's her favorite. Favorite is a beef rib.
Beef ribs.
Yeah, she'll take a beef rib over a pork rib anytime. But yeah, I'm sure she will. Golly.
I almost said it. I held back. My bad.
But I don't think Salt Lake is. I mean, again, that's their. But Dro does like to barbecue. He likes to cook, so I can tell that, I can see why he might say that.
rather do it himself.
Yeah, he'd rather do it himself.
Have to go out there.
I'm like, well, shoot, if you're gonna cook, I'll eat for free too, bro.
Go ahead. I'll drive up there. You just let me know.
There you go. Man, you know what? I'll be there in a couple of weeks. How about that?
Bring some with you, freeze dried.
Right there, you go.
So we got two more. We did Priscilla. So we got two more. Roger opened his big mouth again. Well, everybody seems to agree with him for some reason. Fred's Fish.
So we talked about that.
We talked about it.
2 episodes ago. Whatever.
We had him on our phone interview, quote unquote.
And we talked about not having it being on the list of not to go places for military people. I mean,
he came with his his whack ass fish sticks is what he called it. I'm like, Roger, come on, bro.
And I know that he keeps calling they're just flat fish sticks, and I mean, honestly, I kind of agree. But though, here's the thing, it's the same look as the fish plate from Luby's.
Okay, well,
but Luby's is a lot better.
Oh yeah. I don't think
go with the Luan plate.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll be honest. I don't know if I'll compare that. Yeah, I'll be honest. Their fish, it's square or rectangular.
Yeah,
but it looks decent.
Yeah, when you cut it, it actually looks like fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Not processed.
It's not a nugget. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have to say, if I'm gonna get some fish here, I'm gonna go to like a J. Anthony's. Like, if you're gonna take like a fast food fish, right?
Yeah,
you're trying to take something
that.
go.
Yeah.
There's a Rudy's as well over there on the south side.
Yeah.
Those I would go to there first.
Oh, Rudy's.
Yes, I would go there first before going to Fred's any day.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big seafood person, so I'll go to Long John's. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
That's another one. I got a question about those places. Now, talk about sketch, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I'm not gonna lie.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
The A&W.
Yes.
Long John's.
Yeah, the Long John. Yeah.
Okay. Why is there never anybody there?
So I'll tell you this. I used to see people there all the time, right? They're really not there. But I think I have a reason why. I went to go get food, right? For all of us, and there's 7 of us, right?
Wow.
I went to go get food. That thing came out to $61. And I was like, for fish and chicken? Are you serious? I was like, you know what, man? Forget this. Like, okay, like, we're going to get it this time, but we're not doing this again. Like, if we're going to get it, me and her are going to get it. And it's going to be like, let's just pick it up so we can go and we'll eat it. It's just, I mean, it's not horrible. It's not terrible, but it's pricey now. And I'm like, dude, you're a fast food. Why am I spending $61? But you know what, though? I did the same thing at Church's.
Yeah. Churches.
Spent another $40-$50, and I'm like, bro, it's chicken. Yep. You remember you used to get a freaking 12-piece for like $9.99, $10.99. I'm like,
you would probably not pay more than like $20 to $25.
Bro, I got an 8-piece tender with 2 sides for $27, and I'm like, what?
Tenders?
Dude, yeah, I'm like, man, go to Bush's Chicken.
I could go make that myself.
For real. The Tyson from HEB. Golly.
Well, anyway.
Do you have any other ones?
To hell with you, Roger. We got one more. I got one more. Right. I have one more.
And I have 2 more.
Okay, so our old buddy Josh. So he just made a comment.
He's a fan favorite.
He said Bill Miller's, which.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So Bill Miller's, I mean.
He's from Belton. He's from the Temple, Belton area, Which I don't know if they really have barbecue over there either, because every time I pass through there, ain't nothing. But I mean, he doesn't like it. He thinks that's trash. But you know what? He also thinks Peter Piper's trash.
Peter Piper pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, get up! You're not coming back.
Exactly. That's what I was like. Are you serious?
Back. No.
I said, you know, from now on, all the birthday parties are gonna be there.
You know, and you make sure to invite me because I'll be there. No, Peter Piper, bro. Come on.
He doesn't. He hates it, bro.
Are you serious?
He hates it. I tell him I hate Domino's. I mean,
what? Domino's. Oh, give me right there. Yes, I just fisted Louie.
Yeah. Well, if we have video, you'll see it next time. But yeah, man.
I agree with that. Domino's is not on my radar. That is not. Like way down the line of going to pizza places.
Bro, it's no further down than Pizza Patron. It's further down than freaking Marco's Pizza. Like
the Hunt Brothers Pizza.
Yeah, dude. Man. It's lower than going to H-E-B and getting the ones that are pre-made and putting it in the oven. Like, no, bro.
The Hill Country Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, and they seem to love it here. And I'm like, nah, we're not getting that.
No, dude.
I'll go get Peter Piper's. Yes. I'll get Pizza Hut. I mean, if we want really good pizza, we've gone to like New York, 46th Street. Uh-huh. It's a pizza place. Yeah. It's like a New York pizza. It's pretty good. They have a couple spots here in San Antonio. We'll go there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm not doing Domino's. I'm sorry.
There's I would no. Domino's is very low. If I would go, my go-tos are usually Peter Piper and Papa John's.
And see, and I used to eat Papa John's all the time, right down the road. They closed the one that was nearby, so now I'm like, I have Peter Piper's or Pizza Hut. Like I just real quick.
So Peter Piper and then Papa John's. So something that's maybe more authentic. I've been to this place called Ray's up on Fredericksburg.
Oh yeah.
It's called Ray's, and
they have one over there.
Their pizza and wings were excellent. Dude.
Well, the pizza and wings at 46th Street, you got to check that out. It's actually pretty good.
Well, there you go. You got some new spots to try out,
guys.
What you got, Louie?
So I had one say In and Out.
What do you say about it?
So. It's different.
It is.
It's not bad. I'm not a fan of the fries. They're not really that great.
No.
But the burger's not bad. It's pretty good. However, it is California-ish.
Yes,
so
yes.
I'm like,
Don't California my Texas.
Yeah, I'd rather have Whataburger.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather have Whataburger. So they were like, In and Out, man, it's not good, right? And I was like, yeah, I kind of agree. But then they mentioned Chick-fil-A. And I was like, well, I mean, if you're going for a chicken sandwich, you're going to go to Popeyes. You're going to go to, you know what I mean? And again, that's a sketch place, but still, the chicken sandwich is a little bit, it's a little bit better, you know? But I don't know, man. He just said it's overrated.
So he doesn't like Chick-fil-A.
He doesn't like Chick-fil-A.
It's bearable. I don't know if I can eat it every day.
Nah, I couldn't eat it.
I couldn't even eat it 2 or 3 times a week.
No,
like, man, once.
I think I really do have it once a week, or not even once a week. I have it like once every few weeks.
Well, yeah,
right.
I can take that,
but I'll have that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna eat there every day.
Nah,
they do have a nice biscuit sandwich in the morning. It's like a chicken biscuit. You put some honey on that thing. It's actually really good.
You just grab them in the biscuits.
Just grab them in the biscuits.
Oh, that's the Digital Underground Humpty Dance. If you didn't know,
the
lyric
reference.
From that. Just grab them in the biscuits. Well, so In and Out, you have more?
No. Okay. Those are the ones I have.
Okay, well, for In and Out, I'll say for In and Out, I think it's okay. Is it better than Whataburger? Fuck no.
Hell no.
Hell no. Is Whataburger better than TJ's?
Depends on what you're getting, I think, you know.
That's a close one.
Yeah, it's a close one. But you know what though? I do like TJ's fries, man. The fries? Yes, they're actually really good. The burger's really good. And me and her can go get a double meat at TJ's and we can split it.
Oh, really?
And then get a large fry and we're content with that.
Yeah.
You know, and we're good. And it's like, and it's good food. I mean, dude, there used to be a place and it's still there. It's Brenda's Burgers.
I've heard about that.
They were actually really good. But you know what, man? It's kind of, the quality's gone down a little bit, but it's still not bad. Like, it's actually way better than a lot of the other joints that are around, you know? But, TJ's, I think, right now, takes the spot.
I've heard a lot about Brenda's. Never been there.
Yeah, it's right off of Military Drive, right there on the south side. Right there
heading towards where Kelly used to be,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, there you go, people. There's your do's and don'ts for picking your restaurants. Just don't go to Don Pedro's. Okay?
Don't go to Don Pedro's.
Tasty. Oh, he's got the flight.
Got the flight.
Oh, he's got the
going on.
Yingling.
Yingling flight.
For Roger. Send that to Roger.
Yeah, we'll send the picture to him.
Yeah. Jerk face. Don't talk about my Fred's fish, Roger. All right. So I had a little situation that happened. So this was Saturday morning. Kind of stayed in. We didn't really have anything to do. So we were like, yeah, let's get something to eat. So I called a restaurant. I'm not going to say what restaurant it is. I'm going to say any restaurant, at least for this
purpose
situation.
Yeah.
I won't say any. So I called, and basically I was trying to find out, okay, first of all, I wanted to place an order, and we just wanted to see if they had pico de gallo. Pico de gallo. What the fuck? See? Somebody's talking. Somebody's making fun of us.
Oh, man.
I was calling to see if they had caldo de res. And because a lot of, for whatever reason, the restaurants don't have it. Like the one that we normally go to, apparently it's seasonal, air quotes. So they don't have it. So we tried this other restaurant, and they apparently have it all the time. So I called them up, and the reason I was asking, because I just want to make sure that they still have some, because, they might run out. You never know. So I call, and the lady answers the phone, and she's speaking Spanish. So, hola. I said, okay, I want to place an order. I just want to find out if you have caldo de res. And I believe she took it as me saying that, okay, I want the caldo de res.
I want to order it, yeah.
So she got quiet, and I got quiet because I was just waiting for her to say something. And then she came back with, es todo? That's all. That's it. Uh-huh. And I said, no, I just want to know if you have it. And in that moment, of course, let me go back, because I never took Spanish in high school. But I understand Spanish. Uh-huh. If you try and have a conversation with me,
which is 80% of the people in Texas, San Antonio, basically, yeah.
I can understand Spanish, but if you try to have a conversation, it's going to be really broken, and it's not going to be fluent. Yeah. Okay, so I realized in that moment that I could have said, "Oh, si tienes caldo de res," or something like that. Yeah, right. Yeah. I could have said, "Okay, do you have caldo?" Like you do have it. Something like that. But I didn't. I just said, "Oh no, I wanted to know if you had." So I repeated myself basically. I said, "I wanted to know if you had caldo de res."
Yeah, and she's probably on the other side of the phone, just with a blank stare.
Right,
she still doesn't understand what you're saying.
So they got quiet again, and then about a couple seconds later, she said, espérate un momento. And then she put me on hold, and I said, okay. So in that moment is when the question hit me. So, but then another lady came back on the line, and she took my order, and I went and picked it up or whatever. So as soon as this happened, my first thought, I got my phone, I'm like, Louie. All right, I got a question, bro.
He sends me this. Yeah. He says, look, I see it from both sides, and I'm not trying to pick one side or the other. But the question is, should people learn to speak English if they're living in the U.S.?
Did I add anything else to that?
Yeah. So, I said that's a good question, right?
If I wanted to be beneficial.
Yeah, he's, I'm not picking sides again. He goes, I'm just trying to see if, something happened right now. It would be beneficial.
Would it be beneficial for them? That's my question. I wanted to put a preamble to this just to kind of let everybody know. I don't have a problem with. I didn't have that situation. It didn't make me angry. It didn't make me angry that the person didn't speak Spanish. It didn't make me angry that I had to wait for them to take my order. None of that made me angry. None of it. Yeah, about it was just of it.
I think it was just the podcast light popped on. Right. He was like, hey.
Because I'm like, okay,
people probably have this issue.
We need to go over this because I want to know, and especially with the state of the way everything is going right now. The Karens and, even more. People just getting pissed off.
And everything that's going on, too, at the border. And the governor, Abbott with the Hot Wheels. And
fucking Hot Wheels.
Everything. It's actually a good question. And it's funny, right? Because as soon as he mentioned that, I was like, you know what? Let me start the research. let me start the questions, man.
So Louie's light popped on.
Yeah, my light popped on. And I was like, you know what? Brought out my voice recorder and just started talking to people. started interviewing people. And I got some good interviews, man. I interviewed somebody that works with the state, and they process applications for Medicaid, food stamps, things like that. And, they were mentioning, golly, you're calling me, and I understand the same way. I understand Spanish,
Right.
but I don't speak it very well.
Right.
But because I don't speak Spanish, you're getting upset with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you getting... First of all, and this is the way they felt, right?
Right.
First of all, you're here in the U.S., and you're calling me for services.
Okay.
And you're getting upset that I don't speak Spanish? Like, then speak English or get somebody that speaks English
True.
to help, right? You can't be upset. And they said they get quite a few calls like that.
I'm sure.
I interviewed a dispatcher for SAPD, and she was mentioning that she, the same way, she doesn't speak it, but she understands it.
Right.
So she's listening to what they're saying, and she's trying to respond. And mind you, now she's a dispatcher, so
She needs to be.
it's like this is what she said. She goes, "We're wasting precious time."
Yeah. I see
Especially if
that.
there's an emergency.
Right.
Especially if there's something going on where you need immediate assistance. If I can't get the information that I need, it's crucial.
Right.
So again, people get upset because so she goes, what I have to do is I have to say, hold just a moment, and they have a translator right on site.
Of course.
So they bring the translator, and then they have to do that. Here's what she said though. She goes, it's crazy because I'm listening to the woman. I know what she's saying.
Right.
And the translator is sitting there to cut corners, says this is what she said. No, she didn't. I know what she said.
Yeah.
What I need for you to do is translate back to her what I need,
you
the questions, and
tell her what I'm trying to say.
And so she goes, it's just crazy because it takes away time
Yeah.
that can be a life or death situation. It could
Yeah.
be
Oh,
a critical moment, and
Right.
and you're just taking away that time, right? Talk to a retailer who works at like a James Avery,
Uh-huh.
and mentioned the same thing. He was like, and this is where it kind of made me start thinking. So he says, I'm the same way. I understand it. I don't speak it very well. Like I can speak a little
Right.
bit. But when we have other people, and if you think about it, James Avery, I mean,
I know where you're going.
You don't want to stereotype, right? But it's.
I know where you're going. with this,
you're not
Ryan.
going to Pika Pika. I mean, you're at James Avery, man. It's white.
Right.
So
right.
you don't have a lot of minority, or I can't say minority because honestly, in Texas and San Antonio, minority is white, right?
We are the majority.
We're the majority,
Right.
But you don't have Spanish speaking or most of the time,
Right.
But they have one girl, and he says it's crazy because this one girl, we have to pull her from her job.
Right, doing other
She's either
stuff.
working the register or she's in the back grabbing jewelry. She's doing something, and every time we have somebody that speaks Spanish, we have to pull her aside.
Right.
And stops her from doing her job, or she has to help and then run back to go help somebody she was already helping.
Right.
Like it's I think the way you mentioned, it would be beneficial if you could speak. Now, I'm gonna say the same thing. Let's play the devil's advocate.
Yep.
I think it's beneficial for us as well if we can speak a little bit.
Yes.
And so I posed a question to quite a few people yesterday, right? And this one family, this one lady, she was like, I think they should attempt to learn it. I mean, is it mandatory? No.
Right.
But should they attempt to learn it? Yes.
I think
and
so.
this is coming from her parents speak nothing but Spanish. And so they're like, yes, it's definitely they should try. I spoke to a law enforcement, two law enforcement people, and both of them were. One of them was like, yeah, they it would be beneficial. Again, the same thing. It would be beneficial. That word kept coming up.
Yeah.
It would be beneficial because it's going to be. You'll have a smoother conversation, and
Right.
again, if you're needing to know, certain information, it's good, right? The other law enforcement guy was like, and he's Hispanic too, and he speaks Spanish,
Right.
but he was like, fuck yeah, they need to speak English.
Yeah.
You're here, like
Yeah.
attempt to learn it. And this is what he gave, and I can understand and I can agree because I've been in the same situation. He goes, if I went to China, if I went to Italy, if I went to Peru, I have to be able to communicate
Right.
to them. So
Right,
I'm going to
yeah,
have
yeah.
to learn something, right?
Yep.
So I would expect for them to do the same thing when they came here, and not just Mexican people, not just Spanish people, but anybody that came to the
Right.
U.S. If you came from Japan, if you came from China, if you came from Korea, if you came from wherever,
Yeah.
I would expect that you at least try to attempt it. You know, I went to Nepal.
Yeah.
I went to Nepal.
When you
I
had
went to Sri
KFC
Lanka.
over there,
Yeah,
right?
they had the KFC, Quality Food Kitchen. Stupid. But I go, and I was there for a month, and the month I tried to learn some words.
Yeah.
So I could go to a store and purchase something.
Right.
So I can order food. I'll tell you where it messed up. I went to a barber and couldn't communicate to this guy, and I had my beard, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to line it up, and he shaved it off. Because we could not communicate.
Yeah.
But again, I wasn't like, what the hell? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Bro,
'Cause
I couldn't communicate with
right.
him, so I couldn't be mad. So
Right.
I think it's the same here. You can't be mad. You
Right.
can't be mad if we don't understand you. And not we.
Right.
I mean, I understand Spanish and I speak it.
Right.
But if somebody doesn't understand you and you can't communicate, you can't be mad. Honestly, I've translated for people. I'm literally walking into an office and I hear somebody struggling and I'm like, do you need help, bro? He's like, man, can you help me? And I'm sitting there being a translator,
Right,
and I'm
yeah.
not even there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm there for a
I'm
service.
not even on the payroll.
Yeah, but I'm helping out, and it's like, and I get it, man. It's
Yeah.
very tough, right? It's very
Yeah.
tough. So I can see both sides.
And that was the reason why I wanted to say that I can see both sides is because I'm not one that's going to say, oh, they have to learn it, because they don't have to learn it.
Yeah, they don't have to do anything.
Let's be honest. They don't have to learn it.
Yeah.
But would it be beneficial for them to try at least to learn something or anything that has to do with where they're working, or the
Or what
specific-
they're trying to get.
right, or whatever there's at the store, like. And I understand. It's hard, whether, if they're here legally, illegally, doesn't matter. That,
Yeah,
that's
besides
not
the
even
point.
the topic.
Yeah.
That's not even what we're talking about. The point is, and then if they are choosing to be here, I would imagine that to help them in their lives, to be beneficial, to even have their kids try and learn Spanish, or them try English. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have them learn English, but. And I guess that's why I say both sides, man, because you know how these people are. They get so fucking pissed off because they're like, well, why don't you speak English or not, or go back to your country? And blah, blah. I'm
Yeah.
like, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, we don't tell you to go back where you came from.
Yeah.
Like, even though I understand you. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Go
Well, I know
back
where
to
your
Ireland
answers.
or go back to.
I know where your ancestors are from. So I mean,
Exactly.
really. So and we can get into all that stuff, but that's not the point. My point is, look. We have, and it goes back to one of the comments that one of the listeners
Yes.
said about,
Yes.
this whole generation of kids or students or people that weren't allowed to speak Spanish in the class. They made them speak English. They said, don't speak Spanish. You got to speak English, So it goes back to that. Like, okay, well, maybe people are afraid to do it or attempt it, or because they were just getting shut down the whole time, So why can't that be the other way around?
And I was when I was doing my interviews, there was this lady, and she's a white lady, and she was like, I took Spanish in school, right? And it stopped me from speaking Spanish or wanting to learn it more because they would make fun of me because of my Texas accent when I was trying to speak Spanish, and it just came off as a white person trying to speak Spanish, right? and she's like, it deterred me from saying, like, I don't want to do this anymore because then I'm going to be made fun of. She goes, to the point where when I go to a Mexican restaurant, I point at the menu, and so she's like, 30 years later, I'm still dealing with this because it was an embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
And it made me think, it's funny. You don't like to see those people that do that, right? Yeah, you can't speak the language, get the hell out of here.
Right.
Or they make fun of them because they're trying to say something, right? And we have our stereotypes. When people that don't speak Spanish are trying to speak Spanish, they put an O at the end of every freaking...
Buenos dias.
Yeah, or they, you want a Pepsi-O, a microphono, and, they put the O thing, right? But it's crazy because you go the other way, and when you're talking to, you want Spanish and explain, and, they put an E at the front of everything. And I'm like, guys, it's stereotyping, right? But you know that I've been in that situation where I didn't at the time. Like I speak Spanish now, but I got a job, and the job where I work at, a lot of the subcontractors, they all speak Spanish. That's it.
Yeah.
So when I first started working there, I understood them, and we could communicate for a little bit, but I wasn't speaking it correctly, right?
Right.
And I had two guys that worked with me in the office, and they spoke Spanish.
Fluent, yeah.
And when I would say something wrong, they would literally laugh at me and, chapete, you're saying it wrong. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
we don't know what chapete means.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? They're like, and then they'd smack me in the head like, no, say it like this. But they worked with me, they made fun of me, and I could have taken it like the way she did, where I was, very embarrassed and I didn't want to do it. But I knew it was going to be beneficial to my job, right?
Yeah.
And, 18 years later, it served me well. And now I can communicate very well. I can communicate fluently, not only in my job, but different things that we do. When I was talking to these people in the medical field, they were telling me the same thing.
Ooh, yeah.
They were like, it's very difficult. So I'll tell you like this. Serena works at a place where they don't turn people away. And so you get a lot of people that are either low income, or you get people that are coming from another country, and it's not only Spanish. I mean, they get people from the Middle East, and they get people from Asian people, and it's like we have to have translators, right? So it's kind of hard to communicate. Here's where I see the downfall of what I don't know if you remember 10 years ago, 5 years ago, longer than that. People used to advertise and promote, and they would say, hey, if you're bilingual, we'll pay you more.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Places don't do that anymore.
No, they don't.
Now it's you're a commodity. You're a hey, we got somebody that speaks Spanish now, and we can use them for everything.
Right.
Like no, this is why that person at the retail store is getting pulled left and right.
Right.
Because she's the only one that speaks Spanish. Well, that's not fair to her. And if that's the case, pay me more money.
Exactly.
Pay me more money.
Yep.
And places don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. Exactly, because where I work, dealing with people, not everybody that calls speaks English.
Yeah.
So we have to try our best to handle the situation. Well, at one point there was only it was a supervisor, but if she was a supervisor, of course, so she's not going to take every single call. But we had one other person that was there that spoke Spanish, and she would tooth and nail fight to not take those calls because she claimed she wasn't getting paid for it, which she wasn't.
Yeah.
Which is true, she wasn't.
Yeah.
But that was her first word. She's like, "Oh well, guess somebody's speaking Spanish. Can you help me? Well, give it to Nancy. Give it to a supervisor."
Yeah.
Like what? But yeah, because she didn't get paid for it.
Yeah.
She didn't want to do it.
And you used to see it all the time. Hey, we pay $1 more. We pay whatever,
and
for bilingual.
A lot of the call centers back then.
Yeah.
A lot of call centers that were opening up, they're all like, Spanish be bilingual, get paid $2 extra and all that shit. We're all looking for jobs after that point.
So I was speaking to this guy, man, when I was doing my interviews, and I was talking to this one guy, and he says, here's the thing. It goes back to laziness, and it goes back to entitlement. And it goes back to now you cater to me. So that's why you start seeing a lot of people say, well, you're getting upset because I don't understand you, but yet you're here in the United States, right? Like, you can't be upset.
Yeah.
But
they shouldn't.
You know what it is that we've enabled people to not have to learn the language.
Yeah.
And especially like we talked about, the majority, especially here, and it's not only in San Antonio, now nationwide,
anywhere.
The majority is Hispanic.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's already over 50% Hispanic nationwide. But when you go to a place like San Antonio, you go to a place in Texas, South Texas, it's going to be the majority is Hispanic. You're talking about 70, 80%.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. But out of those 80%, you still don't have a lot of Hispanics that speak Spanish because of the fact that there was one guy, and he said, when I was growing up, that's what we spoke. We spoke Spanish.
Right.
We came from Mexico. We spoke Spanish. And I was very little. And they used to use it to their advantage, where they would talk about people, right? They would talk about people and either make fun of them or just, roast them or talk bad about them within themselves. And their dad realized that and told them, from now on, you don't speak Spanish. You only speak English.
Wow.
Well, he lost learning how to speak correct Spanish, and he's like, man, I struggle with Spanish now.
Yeah.
He goes, and guess what? so do my kids.
Yeah.
My kids don't speak Spanish either.
Yeah,
and so now it was like the generation started to get lost in that, right? But you got to see that too. Well, is it fair that you're using it to your advantage?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, in certain nail salons,
we hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Dude, I've seen it. I've
People
gone with her to go
about
get her
that.
nails done, and I'm sitting there, and I see this girl, and she's literally like, just, you see her facial expression. So you know that she's pissed off. You know that she's talking crap about her because that's not what I wanted. I wanted it like this. And she's getting mad, and then turns around and smiles at her and says, okay. Like, bro, I know you just probably called her, every name in the book.
Oh God,
golly, man.
That's and what made me think of that was Angela. You know Angela Johnson,
yes,
right?
yeah.
She brought that up in one of her skits.
One of her
one time.
skits.
Yeah,
yeah, that was a good one.
That's awesome, dude. But I mean that's like I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go from here. I just think that especially now the kids, right? I would think it's beneficial for them to learn it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, right now, like they should be learning Spanish.
Yeah.
So one real quick funny thing is we have a friend of ours, right? And I kind of mentioned her story, but not really, because her she came from Mexico. Her parents, one of them came over, the other one stayed, and so they were taking care. Well, she's older now, obviously, right? And she's married. Well, she married this white dude, right? And he works what he does is he works with a lot of people that speak Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So every time he has to set up an appointment with a Spanish speaking, she has to go with him.
Oh wow.
So and that's made me think too. It's like, okay, well, it would be beneficial, and we tell him too, straight out, like, it would be a little helpful if you would just
learn a little bit or try, yeah.
Because then she wouldn't have to be with you all the time and blah blah blah. But he just kind of plays it off. But anyway,
I had a family member the same way, man. They used to call me. I'm at work, and they would call me and be like, "Hey, can you help me translate really quick?" For their job, and I'm like,
fool.
"Yeah, I'm working." But it's crazy because when I was interviewing these families, this one family who, again, their parents spoke Spanish. They speak Spanish, and they mentioned, the laziness factor comes into it as well. And because of the entitlement, because of the, hey, no, you got to cater to me. Like, you have to learn and to understand me rather than me have to be able to communicate to you. And they were like, to get her citizenship, the mom, she could have easily gotten it, and they were going to give her the test in Spanish. Right? And she could answer in Spanish. And she chose not to because she didn't have to, because she was already a citizen now. She'd already gotten married, and she'd already had a kid here. And so it was like, well, why? Why do I need to do it now? Yeah. And it's like, man, but this is stuff where they were going to give you classes to learn English. Yeah. And this is all free, and you're choosing now not to do it. And it's like, man, you got to see, again, both sides. You want people to put the effort to understand you and communicate to you, but you don't want to put the effort back. And again, I think it's because we enable them now, right? Especially in South Texas. Everybody, you can turn around and grab somebody, and you know that you're probably going to get somebody that's going to speak Spanish, and they're going to help you out, right? It's a tough situation. I mean, honestly, we want to know how you feel as well about this topic. We want to know if you have any experiences, or if you have any stories to share, or if you have a comment, or maybe you didn't like something.
Yeah.
I mean, we want to hear from you too, because we know that we're not the only ones that have dealt with it or gone through it. And again, like Porky said, it was a situation where he was like, man, it's weird, but it now makes you think, how do other people feel? Yeah. Right? Yeah. And like I said, just interviewing the people that I did, I had medical, law enforcement, retail, all these people, and they all had a different perspective. Some were like, oh yeah, we have to be able to help, and then others were like, no, you need to learn the damn language.
I think, and it could be more or less of just because of the type of job that they're in.
Correct.
Maybe they don't deal with it as much.
Correct.
I'm sure they deal with it, but maybe not as much as a law enforcement person would have to try and communicate with somebody if there's an issue. Obviously, it's the police. You don't know what the situation is. But yeah, I mean, it was a question. and I know all this other stuff happens, and these people just go really crazy and off the fucking edge, and they want to, oh, well, speak English, blah, blah, blah. That's not about that. My question just was like, okay, what can happen? What can they do? What can we do? Okay,
I mean, just to throw it out there, I don't know how Androids are, but when you get an iPhone, it has the actual translator, app on there already, and it actually is pretty good. I mean, it'll help you get by and place an order if you need to.
Yeah. No, I could go to Google and hit translate, fucker.
Yeah, but you got to go to Google and.
Well,
and
I don't matter.
I'd
do it anyway. Actually, there's probably an app I can download and it'll do it for me already.
Is, but iPhone, it already comes on there.
Your camera sucks. You can't record aliens at night.
You know what? So speaking of that, and I know we're getting off topic, but speaking of that, we were watching a movie and we were watching a show. So we've been binging shows like crazy, right? And
all through No Pants July.
Yeah, all through No Pants July, right? And so, and I noticed something, and I brought it up to her yesterday, and I'm like, babe, have you ever realized that when you're looking at a movie or you're looking at a show, and it shows somebody getting a message, or you show somebody having to make a call, and they show their phone, it's never an Android, it's always an iPhone. I've never seen Androids on TV. I always see iPhones on TV.
Because those are the cheap props. Ha ha! They're cheap. Wait, hold on. There it is.
There's your laughter button. Yeah. I was just saying, you either see flip phones or iPhones. I've never seen Android.
Oh, flip phones. Yeah, you gotta bring when's the last time you saw a flip phone?
I literally saw it on Yellowstone. I'm watching Yellowstone, and the guy ripped it. He goes to make a call, and he flips it. I'm like, he still has a flip phone? Everybody else had an iPhone. The whole rest of the family had an iPhone, and this dude pulls out a flip phone. I'm like,
shit. Are we really gonna go down this road?
Is that a burner phone?
Are we gonna go down this road for real? Seriously?
I'm just saying, it was something that I noticed, God. Man. It came up.
And I thought you were gonna say that. You ever notice that every number says 555 on it? That's what I thought you were gonna say, but no.
Hey, they've gotten away from that too.
Have they?
But yeah, everything. That's how you realize that.
Bet you don't know what a 976 number was. You remember that?
Yes.
Was it 976?
It was 976.
These young bucks probably too young to remember that.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay.
Hey,
we're way off
they
topic
English.
Here. Not if you asked them.
You're right.
Yeah, you could ask them to do something else.
Only for $2.99 a minute.
Can you be Bolivian? Yeah. Yeah, I bet they don't know anything about that. So, real quick to finish this up, unfortunately, Paul Rubens passed away at the age of 70, I believe.
70,
he had cancer.
Yep.
He was beloved. Yeah, it hit me, man. I mean, and then to hear like all the other stories of like the stars that knew him, or even regular people that knew him.
Yep.
He was like very special, man. Mm-hmm. Like he would. All I heard, after he passed away was that he would send people messages on their birthday. He would call them. He never missed a Christmas. Yeah. He never missed this. It's like almost he remembered every single person that he ever met, and then from that point on, he sent them something.
Yeah.
And even people that met him for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I read all these stories, and I was telling everybody. We're texting back and forth, and it was like, man, that was my Saturday morning.
Yep.
Waking up,
watching
getting
Pee-wee's
my
Playhouse.
thing, my cereal, food, or whatever, sitting down, watching Pee-wee's Playhouse. That fucking song would come on, and then it was like, oh, man, from that point on, it was like.
People always, you're always going to have the other side that always, brings up the one incident, right?
Right.
But you got to think, he's known for the incident, but he's known as, Pee-wee, right? Pee-wee's Playhouse, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Pee-wee, all that stuff. So, he was big on relationships.
Yeah.
And people, when you hear about how they talk about it, man, he was very special to a lot of people. And there was a lot of people that I saw on Facebook that I know, and they were just like, man, he was a part of my childhood. He was a part of this. And so
I went to Facebook and I posted something about it.
It was pretty heartfelt to see all that.
Yeah, so rest in peace, Pee-wee. We'll see you later, man. All right. So by this time, by the time we air this, I would say air. It's cool to say air. It's like
Air.
radio
Yeah,
shit. Like, yeah.
yeah,
By the time
air.
we put this on the
Yeah.
interwebs,
Porky's doing the air quotes.
yes, air quotes again. You'll know that unfortunately the USA women lost in the knockout round.
Wah, wah, wah.
Hold on.
There you go.
So, okay. And the other thing about this thing is that the game started at 4
In the morning?
3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So and yeah, I'm not blaming USA for that. I'm just saying it was in Australia, New Zealand. So time difference. Yeah. Okay. But the reason they had to play at that time,
Because they sucked.
well, had they played and won first in their group,
Yeah.
they would have played at a different time.
Yeah. So they
A
sucked.
better time.
Yeah.
Where everybody would have been
They
able
would have
to
had a better seed.
Right.
They would have had a better. Yeah.
So they were very lackluster, I have to say, to be honest. And I don't know soccer like I know baseball, but I can tell that
Yeah.
they did not have a good group. Their games in their
Oh,
group.
they were so overhyped.
They were.
I
This
mean,
year was.
I think they were overrated this year. They were picked to win the
Of
whole
course,
thing.
they're number one.
The World Cup. I mean, they were picked. I mean, man, Vegas odds were ridiculous, right? And for the performance that they showed,
Dude, it was bad.
Yeah, it was
was
horrible.
really
It was
bad.
horrible.
And so here's the thing. Here's the reason why they brought it up.
not because we like soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I like soccer. I mean, I pay more attention to the women. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, when the guys play, yeah, I'll watch it, but I'll watch it for like other teams, like
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
Brazil and Italy,
yeah, Mexico,
Because
and-
our
yeah.
team, it's like, oh yeah, Mexico too.
Yeah.
But our team, it's like, okay, whatever. But for the women, yeah, I mean, I was always paying a lot of attention to them. And the last World Cup, they kicked ass, and they, they didn't even take. They just fucking beat the shit out of everybody. And this year, looking at them play, it was like, what? Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I'm not liking this. It didn't look good, right?
On paper, it looked good.
Oh, of course, on paper they look good. And what got me thinking was, there's a lot of
Talk.
talk. We're gonna open up some worms here. I'm sure. I'm not trying to piss people off, but my thinking is okay.
I will. Fuck it,
Oh,
let's do
well, we'll talk. Well, it'll come up. So my thing is okay. They fought tooth and nail, right?
Yep.
Because of the equal pay.
Correct.
They want to be paid the way the guys wanted to be paid and all
Correct.
this shit. And I know if there's somebody listening, and as soon as they heard that, their hair in the back of their neck probably stood up. They're
Yep.
like, oh, no,
Yep.
motherfucker, don't open this cup. Okay, well, we're going to open it. So they fought tooth and nail, right? Because they wanted to get paid the same, and they wanted more wages, and they wanted this, and they wanted that, okay? So they gave it to them. And maybe not what they wanted, but
Yeah.
they got more
They
money.
got a raise, yeah.
I saw it wasn't a meme. It was basically a post that said, yeah, they're definitely getting more money than they were before.
Yeah.
And even there was like 235,000 to make it to the knockout round, and that's a lot of money, man.
It's a lot of money.
So okay, so now
Especially for some of these 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Yes, and the girl was, I don't know, their youngest girl was like what, 17,
Something
16?
like that, yeah.
I don't know.
Yep.
So okay, so my thing is, and this is what got me thinking. If they're wanting all of this, then they should be open to criticism.
Oh, yeah.
They should be open for people to look at this, I'll say it, catastrophe that they had this year.
Yep.
And they should be open to the criticism.
Yep. They
They should not come and say, well, no, it's not fair that you come out. No, you are.
Yeah.
Because you opened that can of worms. You opened that. And I'll even say, like, oh, my God, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. Dave Chappelle said it best.
Yep.
My buddy, Dave Chappelle, he said, he was talking about all this, women's thing, women's and whatever. And he said, you either could do it or shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
So they're doing it. And
They are not shutting
they're
the-
not, they just kind of like was like, I mean, I'll do it again. It was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
So, and a lot of people, they bring up the Equal Pay Act, right?
Title IX, I believe.
Yeah, 1963, the Equal Pay Act. it was put into work, and it's basically prohibiting pay discrimination on the basis of sex, right? So you get a lot of people that want to compare, though. They're like, well, we're not getting paid the same. Here's where here's my argument. It depends on what you're doing, okay? And I've talked to a few women, and I've talked to even Sabrina. I got her take on it. If you're gonna be the CEO of Apple and you're a man or a woman,
why does it gotta be Apple?
Because it ain't gonna be fucking Android.
Fuck, man.
But
anyway.
let's just say you're gonna be the CEO of Apple, right? You're a man or a woman. You're gonna get paid the CEO pay, right?
Yeah.
There's a a standard that you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
If you're the CEO for Ford or for whatever you're doing, if you're a manager, if you're if you flip burgers, it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. You're gonna get paid the same amount. So that's where the equal pay comes into effect. It's not gonna be like, well, this guy's flipping burgers for $15, but you're gonna get $8 because you're a woman. It doesn't work that way, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this act, it came into play. But when you're talking about a grander scale or a bigger stage like the women's soccer, they fought and they got more money. Now, again, like you said, I don't think they got what they were wanting,
of course,
but they got more money.
Right.
I've also heard the same argument from the WNBA. Okay?
Oh yes.
So the
Yes.
WNBA women have also been complaining about their pay and how come they don't get paid as much as the NBA stars.
Right.
Right? And again, when I got her take and I've gotten other people's takes, I think we all kind of agreed on the same thing. This is a money-making event. This is a money-making industry.
Right. It's
right?
Sports. Yeah.
So if you're bringing in the money, then you're going to get paid the money. Okay? That's one. Women's soccer, Porky mentioned it. Hey, I like to see women's soccer better than the men's soccer. I like to see it more, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the only sport. When you go to WNBA, they're not selling out stadiums of 30 and 40,000. Mm-hmm. You're lucky to get 8 to 10,000 people to show up to these games, and that's with giving free tickets away. How many times did we see that we're getting Stars tickets? They're giving them away. Purchase this meal and you're gonna get free tickets. Like, if you're not bringing in the people,
right,
then how do you expect to get paid,
right,
for what you're doing? So, and again, you talk about women's golf, you talk about women's softball, and women's softball is big. It
right.
is, but it's still not selling out 60,000, 70,000 people like you are at Wrigley Field, at Fenway, at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
You're not getting those crowds. Here's the other thing. The jersey revenue.
Yeah.
I don't see people. What was the girl's name from the U.S. national team?
I don't know.
The one that you said, the old chick that's gonna retire.
Oh, Rapinoe. Yeah,
okay.
Rapinoe.
So Rapinoe, mind you might have a few women that have that jersey.
Oh, yeah.
But you're gonna have more jerseys that say Messi on it. You're gonna have more jerseys. You know what I mean? You go to NBA. You're gonna have way more jerseys that say James or Duncan or even Jordan and Iverson. People are still making money off of those jerseys.
Right. Years
I
away.
don't see a lot of Taurasi jerseys out there. I don't see a lot of the Stewart jerseys out there. From the WNBA. I don't see that.
Yeah.
And so you think about it. Yeah. Not only are you bringing people into the stadiums, but then what about all the merch that's being sold that's getting that money as well? There's more revenue there.
Yeah.
And so the marketing aspect, if you're not bringing in that money, you're not going to get paid that money.
Right.
So I was telling you, when we talk about entertainment industry,
mm-hmm.
entertainment industry, women are getting paid, if not the same, just right under men, as far as for movies. TV shows. Shoot, you know that when Friends, when towards the end of Friends, they were getting $1 million an episode.
Yeah, because they fought for that.
Yeah. But you know what? They were all getting $1 million an episode.
Right.
It wasn't Rachel and or Chandler or somebody getting more. They were all getting that amount. Because
you must have watched that show, Louie. You must have watched it.
I saw it from beginning to end, bro. Saw it from beginning to end. But you talk about like the J-Los. They go and they fill movie theaters. So guess what? That money, they're going to get it back. So yeah, they're getting $10-20 million a freaking movie.
Yeah.
Right? The same way as the Tom Cruises and the Brad Pitts, and they're getting paid that money because they bring in the people.
Right.
So if you're wanting to get more pay, then either you bring in more people or go to an industry that you know you're going to strive in, like an entertainment industry. Taylor Swift is the highest paid female entertainer, right now. In 2022, she made $92 million.
$92 million. And you can probably say Beyonce too.
Beyonce, oh yeah.
I mean, shit.
But hers, so she has not only that, but she has her makeup. She has all these things. So she has, the Kardashians, bro.
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
Bring them up.
Like they're making so much money, and you have people saying, "Well, we don't make enough as men." Well, then go find something that you can make that money in.
Go make a sex tape.
Exactly.
And then you get popular.
I mean, honestly,
sorry, I hate the Kardashians.
It doesn't matter where you go. Like, honestly, you go to we talk about restaurants all the time. You go to a restaurant and you know the girls that make more money, opposed to the ones that don't, right? And sometimes it's looks and sometimes it's service.
Right.
It just depends. I mean, Sabrina's mentioned
honest,
it.
Though.
Yeah, Sabrina's mentioned it a few times. We've gone to some. And she's like, man, she's very attractive, but she has a horrible attitude. We don't want to tip her. We're not going to give her more money. Do you go to a strip club? You know who's going to make more money out of the ones that aren't going to make more money. Like, we get it. So if you're wanting to make more money, then either go to an industry where you're going to strive in, or bring in the people.
Right.
Because that's the way you make more money. You think about it. A restaurant. If people aren't showing up, they're not making money.
Nobody's going to make money.
Right?
Nobody's going to get tips. Nobody's going to get nothing.
Exactly. So if you go to a game, if people aren't there, I mean, you're playing for hundreds of people and not thousands of people. How do you expect to get paid?
Yeah.
With women's soccer, I think that's the exception because they bring in people.
Yeah, it's a world thing. Yeah, there's people from all over.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, now I don't know how this compares to the men. I just found this. So it says prize money that will be shared each round. So basically, you have the group stage of when they play. There's 4 teams and
which
everybody
they didn't
plays
do
each
well,
other.
but.
And then, of course, then you have the knockout rounds, and then, of course, as you keep going on. Okay, so just for starters, for the group stage, the team will make $2.3 million.
For the team.
Mm-hmm. And that's 31. The players get 31% of that. Mm-hmm. Now, when you go down to the championship, so they got
$651,000 for the team.
Okay.
Out of that 2.1 million.
And then you separate that into
divided by however
many players. Okay. So the champion, whoever wins everything, per team will get $10.5 million, and the players will get 59% of that.
So you're talking about the team.
So
they're gonna get $6.2 million to divide between the team. So guess what? If you win and you put a good performance and you fill the seats, you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
You're gonna get paid.
I mean, 59%, that's more than half.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The total amount. So that's a good chunk of change. I don't know how many players are on the actual team, because obviously they have 11 on the field, but I don't know how many they have on the bench.
Yeah.
But you got to divide that.
Yeah.
You got to
the coach and everything that's going on.
Yes, everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure trainers,
people who handle the equipment, and people who handle the travel and do all that stuff. Like that has to be divided, up in for 15. At least for the players, 59%. So that goes back to guys, and Louis said it. It's about money.
It's money making thing, man.
The owners are gonna pay $500 million for this guy to play 16, 17 games.
Yeah, that's why you pay.
And maybe
that's
not,
why you pay Mahomes the money you pay him because he fills the seats.
Right.
And he wins.
Right. And he can probably win a championship, right?
Yep.
So there's other people out there that get $500 million and they don't make the playoffs.
Exactly.
So
Mike Trout. Yeah.
I like Mike Trout.
I like him too, but he
Come
paid
on,
him and
bro.
couldn't pay nobody else,
Come
man.
on, bro.
You know?
That it's weird that they have Otani and him on the team.
Yeah,
That
and they can't win.
That dude's gonna make a shit ton
Oh,
of money,
yeah.
dude. Whenever he leaves whenever he leaves the Angels, bro.
Yeah.
Otani, wow. It's funny. Everybody wants him.
Yeah, everybody wants him.
Yeah, God, everybody wants him.
Angels didn't want to trade him.
No, they're not gonna.
But
get
again,
rid
guess
of
what?
him.
He fills the seats.
Yes,
And then
why
not only
they're there.
that, he's international. So now you have people from Japan. You have
Yeah.
people in the U.S. Everybody that loves him. And guess what? I see a bunch of Otani jerseys.
Right.
Again, I'm not seeing all these women jerseys running around, and it's not to knock on them, but it's saying if you're not selling it,
Yeah.
if it's not out there and it's not marketable,
Right.
then you're not gonna get paid.
There's got to be a level of there's got to be somewhere where man. And I wanted to say, and I brought it up to Louis because I said, okay, I'm not trying to be this machismo.
Yeah.
Oh well, the guys are just gonna get paid more. No,
Not being a misogynist or
no. But my thing, okay, it's exactly what he's talking about. You have to do things to make that money, and if it's not gonna happen, you're not gonna get paid that money. I mean, I don't know if this. I guess FIFA is actually who pays them,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Because I mean, I don't. I'm guessing that the United States Soccer, I don't know what it's called, pays them as well. I'm sure because they made the team, and obviously they should be making some sort of money. But if you do well, and you continue into the knockout round, the round of 16, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, then you get to the championship. Even the second place team got $7.5 million, and oddly enough, they're getting 60% of that.
Wow. See?
So they're getting 60. So even on the second place team, they're getting a little bit more.
Yeah. I mentioned to you earlier what I was looking at on my 5 billion I don't know what search now. There was a report that new research, and it was on CNBC. New research shows that movies starring women earn more money than movies starring men. And guess what? These women are getting paid substantially more than some of these leading actors, these men. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the actresses are getting paid more money, $10 million, $30 million, up to $50 million to make a movie.
That's crazy.
But guess what? They bring in the people.
Yeah.
People want to go see Salma Hayek. People want to go see J-Lo. People want to go see, what I mean? Man, she doesn't
That
age,
chick
bro.
is pushing 60, bro.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
pushing 60, and she's posting these things on Instagram like, huh?
Yeah. You got your Megan Foxes and all these people that they want to go see these people. Remember when Halle Berry was a big thing?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like those people want to go see these people. And so when they would come out with a movie, people were filling the theaters.
Oh, yeah.
They were streaming them. They're purchasing them. Again, it's money. It's about money.
It's always about money.
And you can say that about anything. Honestly, man, at our jobs, if we don't perform, we're not gonna get paid.
Right.
We're not gonna get a raise. We're
Right.
gonna get let go.
Yeah.
So I know, like, my supervisor would say, hey man, if you're not bringing in money, then I'm not gonna give you money.
Right, exactly.
Right. And that's I think in anything you do. So do the women have a gripe? I mean, I think we can have a gripe about anything.
Yeah.
We can complain
Yeah.
about anything.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and complain, right? Or you can do what Dave Chappelle said. But I think the main point is, if you're gonna have that argument, then you need to perform.
Yeah.
You need to bring in money.
Right. So, and there's the big difference. You mentioned it in work. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest difference. Like if there was a woman that was in your position that was doing what you were doing and doing everything that you were doing exactly the way, then yes, she should be getting paid the same. It's obvious. But when you talk about sports,
Yep.
where it's a completely different realm, because the way the owners are. So you're not gonna get that money, and it is unfortunate. We're not women bashing here. We're not like, saying, And I'm not saying for women to shut the fuck up. What I'm saying is you perform or you shit or get off the pot. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with that.
Well, I don't know, man. All I know is that you want money, make money. Bring me money, I'm going to pay you money.
And then some jobs used to pay you more if you knew Spanish.
Exactly.
But not anymore.
Yeah. You bilingual, you get some extra money. I don't know, man. I think they're just being a little extra. You know,
Well,
the kids like to use that word extra. You know,
Well,
being dramatic. You know that, right? They're being dramatic. They're they're being extra. You know, I hear the kids say that. I say, you're just being extra.
Have we hit that part of the show?
I don't think we're getting to it. We're getting to it. I mean, literally, you know, extra meaning dramatic. They're trying to get that attention. They're attention grabbing. You know, they're trying to do too much.
Extra, yeah.
You know, you don't have to be so extra about it. You know what, man? I think they're being a little too extra about it right now.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get that. Like, you know, they're being salty.
Salty. Well, I'm sure after this loss, they're gonna be a little salty.
Oh man, you know what though? It ain't only them that's gonna be salty. You're gonna have a lot of people that were supporting them, and pushing for them, and saying, "Hey."
We'll see. And okay, here's another thing, and the biggest reason why I brought it up. Okay, and I know we're still on this topic, but an ex women's soccer player, U.S. soccer player, made a comment.
She did.
Earlier during the tournament in the group stage, and she's like, these girls should not be celebrating for the performance that they did.
Yep.
They barely made it into the knockout round.
Yeah.
Because had
the
they
other team
lost,
won,
had they lost, they would have been home.
Or even with the tie that they had in the other,
right.
If one of the other teams in that group would have won, they would have been knocked out.
They would have been out.
Yeah.
So she came out and on live television, because you know after they show the game. They go to like the broadcast people or whatever, and they're talking about the game. And as the game's going on, they're showing the field and they're showing the players who are walking around. Well, at that point, she made the comment that these girls, these women, these ladies should not be celebrating how they played in the group stage, which I thought was true. And that was my thing and why I brought it up. And I brought it up to Roxanne. Of course, she didn't agree with me, but I said no. I'm looking at it in a different way, like. They wanted this.
Yeah.
They fought for it. Yeah. And they got it. And now to have this type of performance, and then you have an ex national team player that's making these comments, and right away the coach came out and was pissed off. The other players were saying they were threw a little shade.
Yeah.
They threw some shade at her because she made these comments. But why? Why are they exempt from getting these
criticism?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. I mean, you know, they interviewed the players after them barely getting in, and they were like, "Hey, the goal was to make it in. We're here. Now we just have to perform now." Well, you didn't.
You didn't.
You didn't.
You didn't.
And so the same way that you wanted people to jump on your bandwagon and support you for the higher pay because hey, we deserve it. Well, then expect to get that criticism and that backlash and the people coming down on you hard because you didn't perform and you were getting paid.
Yeah. That's what got me. That's what made me think. And like I said, Roxanne didn't agree because she started bringing up, you know, like, well, the guys get all that money and, you know, and they don't like it when they're people talking. I was like, yeah, this is kind of different group there because it's the owners that want to give them that money because they want them to stay. So, you know, then like I said, you have a guy that can make $250 million and he still won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But but he's getting paid.
I mean, and you get it, right? So when you're talking about like, so I know the pay structure is different when we talk about like the World Cup and we talk about, you know, other team sports, because like we were talking about in the World Cup, the team is getting the money and they're dividing it, right? Players. And then when you go to like a team sport such as football or basketball or baseball, you're paying one player way more than you are other players. And someone say, well, yeah, but he didn't make the playoffs. Granted, but in your baseball team, he had 8 other guys on the field and so many other pitchers, right? In the football team, you know, he had 10 more on one side and another 11 on the other side. It's a team sport. But guess what? You know why they're paying him that $500 million? Yeah, maybe because he's a winner, but you know why? Because he's filling seats. Yeah. Because he's selling jerseys. He's selling shirts. You know what? He's on commercials. He's the face of your franchise. So guess what? That's what's gonna attract and draw in all these people. So when they do that, that's why I'm giving him the money.
Yep.
So these women, if they want that, then they got to get marketed. Honestly, I don't think it's so much now, hey, we need to get paid more. I think it's, hey, let's find ways. How can we market ourselves?
Put it out there.
Yeah. So that way we can get that revenue coming in. So that way we can get that money putting back.
Yeah.
So honestly, you can't, again, like you said, if you're going to have these strong opinions and these strong battles and fights, expect for the fight to come back.
Yeah. You got to have that. There's going to be criticism, and you got to face it, and you got to be honest. Like, I don't know why that coach I understand. He's the coach, and he's in the middle of the World Cup. He's not going to say something that's going to be so disparaging to his players that it's going to be like, well, why the fuck we here? So I understand why he backed him up, but there's got to be some truth to it. I mean, if you got a woman that played on the national team for at least, I believe it was at least 2 World Cups, and that's 8 years. So she knows. Yeah. She knows what it is. Yeah, she knows. Exactly. And she saw it, and she plain out said, y'all sucked. Like, y'all basically didn't even deserve to make the knockout round.
You really fought for this?
Yeah. You really don't deserve to make the knockout round the way you're playing. Like, there's no reason to celebrate. So.
Exactly.
Anyway, I've said my piece.
And that's done. So we're going to be wrapping this show up. We do have some more comments, and we'll get to them on the next episode. But we had Christina, who was an avid traveler, and had her takes on food places. So we get into those in the next episode because I want to share those because she had stuff from not only San Antonio but Austin, from Dallas,
a world traveler,
Phoenix, Denver, Hawaii. Like, she had all these places to talk about. So we'll get into that the next episode. But yeah,
La Cubana should have.
She should have some place.
She said something
about Greece.
Another world traveler over there.
Another one over there, man.
Said, I'm calling you out, lady.
Yes,
calling you out.
Throw it out there.
Oh man, so yeah, man. Good show. Good. Again, if I don't know, maybe people might be mad.
Yeah, we want to hear your.
If you are, if it's enough to make you think and let us know. Look,
we want to hear your feedback on both.
Hear about it.
On if the Spanish speaking, the women's pay.
Yeah.
Go to our social media, drop us comments.
Yep.
Go to our DMs, comment on Spotify, like, share. We do appreciate everybody that's listening. Especially our loyals. You know what I
mean? It's crazy to think we have loyals.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think that we have people that are. It's funny, Bobby, he'll hear it, and then like Monday or Tuesday after he hears it, he calls, and I know why he's calling.
Yeah,
and he comes, he tells me, he'll tell me, straight out, it was funny. It was,
Yeah, I'm starting to get a lot of those too.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing, man. It's.
Yeah, I still got my nephew in Pakistan right now, and he's shooting me messages too, man. Me and him are gonna have some words.
I want to know that person in Russia. That's
right. He tells me, he says, why are you fooling your listeners? You're talking about, I wear a backwards cap because, I don't want to comb my hair. He was like, what hair?
Oh.
I'm like, bro, me and you, when you get back into town.
Man.
Them fighting words, man.
Oh, bring him on, dude.
We're going to bring him on when he gets into town, man. We're going to bring him on the show.
I'm sure he's got some stories, bro.
We will. We'll definitely interview him.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, good show, Louie.
Yes, sir.
Good seeing you. And we'll talk to you guys later, man. Have a good week.
Next week.
All right. Later.